right, Coach. Look, as long as Tom Brady's playing, he's going to be asked about retirement. And this seems like as good a time as any to ask because of the season he's had and how big this game is. What do you make of what he had to say?
It makes total sense. I don't know why he would possibly retire. He's been healthy. He's had a great season. He's got Josh McDaniels back. It looks like, I would imagine, Dante Scarnecchia is coming back. Bill's coming back, so he's got all those
running back coach.
He's got all.
Been there 17 to 19 years. Scarnecchia, the offensive line coach, 15 of the 19 Belichick years.
And then look at the division. The Jets changed head coaches. The Dolphins changed head coaches. Buffalo's had their struggles, so it's not like there's that division is emerging. It's going through its normal transitional phase. So why would he leave? I think with Tom, he sets a bar and then he surpasses the bar, and then everybody thinks, well, you can't go past this bar, and then he sets a new bar and he surpasses that. So there's no need for him to retire, and even his wife seems to be on board.
Yeah, Nick, I'm going to allow you here, unprompted and everything. Give me the list of who you think, because he loves to make a list. Who are the 5 greatest quarterbacks ever? Yes.
Okay. All right. So I would say Brady 1, Montana 2.
Okay. Montana's career ended.
He only gets 2 before he counts.
No.
Yeah.
Ended. Because he had a bad back and he couldn't continue to play at that level. Keep going.
I think that it gets murky after that. I would always say John Elway 3, given the 5 Super Bowls, the 2 at the end, the amazing run in the 80s.
Same story with John Elway. John Elway wanted to continue, but his legs, he could not throw the ball. He was only a shell of himself when they decided to go to Terrell Davis in that running attack at the end of his career.
Right. And then it gets really murky. Johnny Unitas is what everybody says. I can't really speak to that. People also, and Otto Graham, I don't even know that he was a real human being. He might just be written about in history books. But, Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers. Dan
Marino tried to leave Miami and come to Minnesota and sign with us. Dan called me, Chris, what do you think? I said, Dan, we got a great passing attack. We still might not win the Super Bowl. Our defense is not any better than yours. We got a little better running game than he had in Miami. But Dan's Achilles and his knees were shot.
And then the other one that I left off, people might be upset about, Roger Staubach would be another guy that's on the list. But he had a similar run to Brady, where he had the same coach. He had Tom Landry. They had this amazing run of success. But I see the point you're making is those other guys got forced out.
Yes.
And Brady ain't been forced out yet.
And this is what I can guarantee you. In all those quarterbacks, and I would argue outside of Roger Staubach, because what he's done off the field as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, is second to none as a former athlete. You will not have a second act that's better than what you're doing now. Why would I be in a rush to go do something that I'm not going to be able to do as well as what I do right now? As much as I like doing television, there's no comparison in television to what I was as an athlete, as a football player. So there will not be the type of reward that he gets. Coach Mangini lined it up for you. You see the AFC East? Well, I'm going to be in the playoffs next year. So I'm going to be in the playoffs next year at 42. Y'all want me to quit? Well, why? At the most, I got to win 2 or 3 games to get back to potentially Super Bowl number 10. Why would he give it up? So for me, I understand. To me, the longevity has been very special, but his relationship and dealing with Bill Belichick day in, day out, under that pressure with Bill's personality that is not going to change, to me, that's his greatest accomplishment. How I'm going to keep myself fresh in this environment that is not conducive to you being fresh for a long period of time. That's why I have much respect for Tom Brady, what he's accomplished athletically, but what he's accomplished from a mental standpoint, getting himself ready to go to work with Bill Belichick for all those years. To me, that's his greatest accomplishment.
It's hard. It's a hard environment to be in, and it's very demanding, and it doesn't go away. It's not like you have a couple days off during the week where it lightens up. It's demanding every single day, and he's thrived in that. And to some degree, it's probably made him who he is because it continues to push him. Now, the other thing that's helped him is the change in the NFL rules. Quarterbacks have more protection than any of the quarterbacks that you mentioned. The wide receivers have more protection. The numbers for passing are way up and scoring are way up. He can continue this run for quite some time because of the added rules that the NFL is pushing in.
And because, look at Tom Brady in his 20s and then Tom Brady in his 40s. He's now played 2 complete seasons at 40-plus years old. I mean, look at the numbers. The win percentage is basically identical. Completion percentage up 5 points. Yards per game up 60 yards. Passer rating up 12 points. Like, that is, so he has, I don't think he's in the phase of his career where he's still getting better and better, but he has been able to maintain, and even if the drop-off from last year was 8 to 10%, like I think it was, he was the league MVP last year. He can drop off 8 to 10% and still be one of the, he doesn't have to be the best player in the league anymore. Like, I think there was a period in time where he was. He doesn't have to be that. Especially when you bake into it, he is as clutch as anyone we have ever seen in sports. And he seems to play his best, you could argue his best 2 games. Well, his best game of the year was maybe that Charger game, and then his best moment of the year was the overtime drive against Kansas City.
Well, the other thing, when you think about Tom, it's so different than Cam Newton or any of those quarterbacks that rely on athleticism as a big part of their game. He has to move up in the pocket or move left and right, and that really hasn't changed. So even if he can't run as fast as he used to, he never had to run very fast based off the way he plays anyways, so it's not like that is something that's going to be a limiting factor for him either.
But the other thing that we don't often talk about is that he's the oldest player in that locker room. He doesn't connect as much with all the guys. He's not listening to the same music as the other guys. He's not at the same point in his life with the other guys where they could hang out as much off the field.
That's where I think, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's where I think the coaching consistency helps. Maybe you guys can tell me if you disagree, but
yes.
But because he is having to find ways to reconnect with these young players, find points of continuity, and the point of continuity is probably we all like to win, and I'm the best guy to help us win. He has multi-decade relationships with Belichick, McDaniels.
Well, I believe the 2 most important relationships beyond Belichick in the building and beyond the craft and the family there happen to be the relationship he has with Josh McDaniel. I believe that was key, because he can talk football to someone relatively the same age as him, same experience as him. And they have battles after battles after battles together. All that information we take into conversations. And I believe last year when they traded for Brian Hoyer, that was huge. Not only does he understand the system, but he's an older guy. He's more mature. Him and Tom can spend time together, because Tom is not spending a lot of time with his other teammates. That's not required of him. It never has been. He's been available enough that they know he is the leader, and you can approach him. He's very, very approachable. But those key relationships with that backup quarterback and that coordinator give him the type of conversations that wouldn't bore him as a 41-year-old.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.